GPS Dairy Consulting presents Ahead of the Herd, a GPS DairyCAST presentation. Hosted by King Hickman and Paul Dyke, with Peggy Coffeen of the Up-Level Dairy Podcast. Sponsored by Alltech, working together for a planet of plenty.
At Alltech, we believe agriculture has the greatest potential to shape the future of our planet. Every cow, every herd, and every farm plays a vital role in nourishing people and sustaining the land we all depend on. As a family-owned company, we share the same values that guide dairy producers: caring for animals, being good stewards of the land, and building a legacy for the next generation. As a worldwide leader in agriculture, Alltech provides solutions from the ground up, backed by science and meeting your local needs with our global expertise. Together, we can provide nutrition for all, revitalize local economies, and replenish the planet's natural resources. Dairy is more than milk. It's community, stewardship, and a brighter future. Alltech, working together for a planet of plenty.
Welcome to Ahead of the Herd, the special GPS DairyCAST production where we share ideas, have a few laughs, and help dairy leaders stay ahead of the herd. I'm Peggy Coffeen from the Up-Level Dairy Podcast, and today we're serving up practical, profit-focused ideas on feeding your herd. We will break down nutrition strategies that work, talk management wins, and share tips for boosting efficiency without blowing the budget. Plus, we have an expert guest you won't want to miss. Now let's hear it for our GPS DairyCAST host, King Hickman and Paul Dyke. Take it away.
Welcome back to Ahead of the Herd, the podcast where dairy wisdom meets barn floor reality, and we prove that even nutrition can be fun to talk about. I'm Paul Dyke.
And I'm King Hickman. You know, Paul, I heard Rob say the other day that balancing a ration is like baking a cake with cows who keep eating the recipe.
And just like the cake, too much sugar can be a disaster.
There you go.
But seriously, today we're diving into nutrition strategies that don't just look good on paper. They deliver in the bunk and the bottom line.
That's right. From the feed efficiency to profitability, this is an episode for anyone who wants healthier cows, better margins, and fewer headaches. So, Paul, nutrition is one of the biggest controllable expenses on the farm, right? Yet it's where I see some of the biggest missed opportunities. Would you agree?
You know, we're nutritionists and we love to balance rations. But we know balancing a ration on the computer is only part of it. It's managing every day.
Right. Every time a customer asks me, how can we lower feed costs? Can you get me cheaper rations? I say, how can we lower feed costs? Let's walk out to the feed center and let's figure out how we can lower feed costs, because it's right out there in front of you.
It's often about managing those things that we see out there. We can manage dry matter intake. We can look at refusals. I mean, I've got a guy that he started managing refusals every day, and all of a sudden he cued in on, hey, I am way over feeding some cows, and I may be underfeeding some other cows. So there's an efficiency there that we're missing.
Right. Forage is another one. You know, quality. To get quality out takes quality in, right? And don't even get me started on shrink.
Shrink is a good one, because it's one of those little things that we don't often talk about, but those little things add up to big dollars.
Yeah, exactly. It's a huge impact on cash flow, and that affects everybody, right? Even a small percentage gain on an average dairy can mean thousands of pounds of feed a day that we save.
If we can improve just 0.5%, it can impact that bottom line by 1% or 2% because of the margins that we're working with.
Right, and the dairies that are already up to speed and working on feed efficiency every day, they can handle volatility so much better, because when those spikes come, when the milk prices drop or the feed costs go up, they're already doing the things they need to do to be prepared for that.
You know, I find when we're working with teams and we bring bankers in, they really like it when we know our numbers well and we've got feed costs really cued in well. Having efficiency numbers, knowing where our refusals are, being able to control those feed costs, they want to make sure that you're in control of your biggest expense.
Right. And I think dairy producers put a lot of pressure on their staff and their employees to help them be more efficient, right? And so I think it's actually when they can keep track of the numbers like that and share them, it's a morale booster when they can see that their hard work is really leading to something that is better for the dairy.
We talk about if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. And I was
Right.
thinking about all the tools that we have, the software out there. We have the tools, but we have to make sure that we use those tools, whether we're measuring refusals or whether we're measuring dry matter intake. We've got the tools. We've just got to, sometimes we've got to work with the people that are there to
Right.
use those tools.
Right. And bottom line, right? Feed efficiency is one of the most direct levers for improving profitability on the dairy. There's just no question.
Yes, indeed. And so we're going to bring in an expert on all things nutrition and feed efficiency. Joining us today is someone who lives and breathes dairy nutrition strategy, Marty Faldet.
Let's welcome Marty.
Welcome, Marty. Welcome.
This is fun. I haven't been in Sheldon, Iowa for many years.
Well,
How many years
it
has
hasn't
been?
changed much in several years either, actually. So, Marty, let's kick it off with the basics, right? What's the number one thing you wish more of your producers understood about feed efficiency?
You know, it's like what you said earlier about don't get me started. You said, what was it on shrink or
Shrink,
something
yeah,
like that?
yeah.
So, you know, when it comes to feed efficiency, it's like, don't get me started because it's so complex. It has many pieces to the puzzle.
Right.
You can talk about many things. And so, you know, feed efficiency to me is a misleading, you know, like label
Okay,
to all
yeah.
the pieces that need to happen. And so when somebody says, well, feed efficiency is just energy corrected milk divided by dry matter intake. And I'm like, it's so much more than that. You know, that is not, to me,
Okay.
it's a number. It's a financial number. It means a lot. It tells part of the story, but there's a lot behind the scenes that make it work or not work.
Where do you see them leaving money on the table?
Well, there's
Right.
many areas.
Yeah.
Shrink comes up with, you know, that in mind.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
shrink can mean many things. Shrink could be meaning just commodities in a feed center. It could be feed left out in the field during harvest. It could be feed you're dropping as you're bringing payloader buckets
Right.
full. It could be overdoing way back. I heard you talking about,
Yep.
you know, areas that you improved and helped a client of yours, and way back is a part of that, and how you use it, and that's part of shrink. And so there's a lot of numbers that just fit in shrink that then relates to feed efficiency. And so that's part of it. And, you know, another one, when we get out of sync with feed efficiency, it could be just because performance is lower, right? Milk's down. It could be if we're correcting it for components. It could be your components are poor, and so you got to work on your components. And then it could be because your herd is maybe more stale, and so that's where the days in milk in a herd, and you calculate that out, and that becomes part of that equation. So you got to get better. You look into repro. Is repro suffering some, and what do we have to do differently on the repro side? And so that's some of them that jump out at me.
You know, one of the things that bothers me a lot is, you know, you just talked about, you know, a feed per pound, per pound of energy corrected milk, but that's always like dry matter you dropped. There's almost that doesn't take into account, like you said, all the commodity shrink, all the shrink coming in from, you know, your piles not being covered right. It's almost like if you wanted to really do feed efficiency, it's almost the feed that's coming off the field or the feed that's delivered to the farm divided by pounds of energy corrected milk. It can't just be what you're feeding.
Yeah, good point, because even on financials, they'll look at it a little differently than maybe we do on a ration,
Right.
you know, side, and so that kind of creates that disparity or whatever, that difference, and so that'll be a part of it as well.
So I'm hearing it's really it's a huge dynamic number, right? I mean, there's so many
Yeah,
things feeding
absolutely.
into it that there's so many things you have to look at to try to correct it or to try to lower it or.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know, the funny thing on the days in milk, I don't know, you know, just had a conversation the other day on it, and it was like, yeah, we just can't get our days in milk lower. I think that's why our feed efficiency a little off. But they had awesome repro. I mean, like
Yeah.
40 conception rate plus 45 to
Yeah.
50. They had a preg rate over 35. They had all the great numbers that you would want to manage that feed efficiency on a, you know, repro status. And then you go like, well, how many cows do you have that are DNBs or do not breeds that are, you know, over 600, let's just throw out a number, 600 days
Right.
of milk or
Yeah.
700
Yeah.
days of milk. All of a sudden you track down some of these cows and you're like, oh, you got 1,000
Yeah, yeah.
cow or 1,000 day in milk cow.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
you got a 700 day in milk cow, and you're like, oh, let's take those out, and then what would that average
Right.
be? Those extreme numbers that can really help you. And all of a sudden they're right in there. They're 175 or 174, a very respectable number, and
Right.
something you'd work towards.
Even those cows might be making you money.
Absolutely. That's why they're still there.
That's why they make. She's milking 80 pounds, 90 pounds, and
Yeah.
she's still good.
Yeah,
But,
absolutely.
But she's not helping your numbers, right?
Yeah,
Your
so
benchmark numbers.
That's why a number is only, it's a number. You don't have to go, oh, everything's wrong. Nothing's going right. It's like, no, dig into it and dig deeper. And that's why data is important, like you said, Paul.
And that's a downfall of looking at just one number, I think. Like you said, like just one feed efficiency number or
Right.
just a days in milk. You got to look a little broader than that.
Absolutely.
If you get a new client, Marty, what's your approach on that first visit? How do you, and what do you think about when you go onto that new client and say, all right, what do I tackle first? And I'm thinking a little bit more on let's stick to the feed efficiency because there's a lot of stuff there.
Sure.
But
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Paul, it's even probably prior to your days. It's King and I when we were younger.
oh wow, we're going way back.
But I mean, the easy card was you see how the mixer is working.
Right.
It's all about the mixer and consistency of drops and some of those things that just help you perform better in terms of outcomes of components or milk or
Right.
just helping the cow out. And so now, we framed it up better. We put more pieces to the puzzle, and we called it, FeedFIT, and we do a FeedFIT assessment, in terms of our team. And so there's just a lot more to help us dig into that, and I'd go to that every time. I mean, there's so much good information to grab.
So if you break it down, so there's things in the feed center that will impact efficiency. There's some things that we would do to fine tune, maybe computers, data, things like that. And then there's things in the barn. Maybe we could address it from those three areas. So let's go in the barn. What are the big things in the barn that are going to impact feed efficiency the most?
You know me, I don't like those
Yeah.
words, but no, it's more about there's so many things,
Well-
so it's time budget of the cow. What are we
Time
doing
budget.
with the cow? Is she locked up? When she doesn't need to be locked up? Is she, are the beds not comfortable? Is the heat abatements not
Yeah.
implemented? That's all about feed efficiency too.
You mentioned earlier too, are feed drops on time? Are we late
Absolutely.
on feed drops? Are we pushing feed up? Or all that stuff weighs
Yeah,
into it.
absolutely. Absolutely.
No.
How good is the feed? Is it
Right.
mixed right? Is it fresh? Is it spoiled? Did we
Right.
face it right? Yeah.
Yep. Then you go out in the feed center. That's where I like to bring them and show the shrink that's going on out there. The buckets coming across the pavement and dropping corn silage the whole way.
But that could be normal to them, right?
Right,
They
it
don't
is.
know
It is.
abnormal versus normal behavior.
That's when the abnormal becomes normal because
that's-
they see it so much.
Yeah.
And
The one when I think about is that you go to some farms and you go, hey, what's that pile over there? Oh, that's all the pile that we feed we pitch off the top of the bunker. Or and you go, wow, that's got to be like 5% of your pile that you're just
Yeah.
pitching off, and it does become normal. They don't know that you could have covered that bunker better or packed it better, and they're just throwing away. But they've always done it, right? There's always this pile that they haul out in the spring.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Paul, because one of the things I've worked over the last couple of years more is getting the feeders or, key feeders
Yep.
a part of packing, covering, managing some of that. Even though they get thrown into it sometimes, there's still no, our goal is never to have to throw away anything.
Right.
Our goal is to have the tires in the right order or, placement so it's not hard for the feeders to, uncover during feeding type of thing. And so it's all about, getting everyone on the same page. So that's helped a lot.
Yeah, I was thinking of a farm that they dealt with some butyric acid in their haylage this past winter. The lead feeder is involved heavily into harvesting this year because they never have to want to go through that again. It's like if you involve the feeder in the harvest process, the feeder knows what the problems can be, so they can help identify where there might be a harvesting issue, whether the feed's coming in too wet, it's not getting packed well, or they know that on the sides they're always seeing a lot of waste. The feeder can say, look, we got to do things differently. So I love that comment.
Yeah. And that whole butyric thing, that's I'm going to call it Marty #1 sin or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like there's no reason for us to have it. There isn't. We can really, some of that is the person deciding when to chop is making some wrong decisions. I'm realizing weather plays a role in all this, and it'll give them a headache for sure. But you can divert this wet haylage, and we can feed that pile up in 30 days and it won't go butyric. But if you put in the pile and we can't get to it, guess what? It's going to be bad, and it's going to be a layer. And how do we manage that? So let's do a plan to work through that.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to reduce feed efficiency, don't throw feed away, right?
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
Mention that.
Well, you mentioned that in terms of harvest, and I have some farms that still don't have scales. The cost of putting in a farm scale and weighing everything is real. It's an issue, but if you're truly trying to track efficiency or feed efficiency, you probably need scales, right? You need TMR software or feeding software, and you need scales on the farm to understand what's coming in and what's going out.
You mentioned the software. So that comes to my third point, which was
sure.
in the office, in the watching those type things. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes on within the feeding software that people don't correct bad loads. Well, the feed went into it. If you don't correct it, you've lost that. It's still counting that
So, like,
feed.
you're saying who's accountable for that software
How do we make
drops
sure
in a day or
that
the mixes?
it all gets done?
Yeah.
That deliveries get tracked. That and they're matched. That all is going to weigh into those numbers too. It's one of those dynamic things.
Yeah.
And it seems to me like that's the one that gets avoided the most. Is that they don't do what they're able to do with the feeding software.
Yeah, absolutely.
They don't know how to do it, or
It's almost like there needs to be somebody who is raising their hand and saying, I'm taking care of the software. I'm going to watch those intakes, And if there's not that person, it just slips through the cracks.
Yeah, something around, I just ran into, when we had that hot week of really hot weather, and intakes just crashed on pens or cows. And, what was lost is understanding where we have to get back up to.
Yep.
So like cool weather
Sure,
came in,
yeah.
they were making adjustments because we put on the feeder schools, right? We tell them what the adjustments are typically made, and they don't want to get in trouble where you get too much feed out there again. So they're slow to bring the cows back up. They're all running out of feed because it's cool and they're ready to, take off and eat. And so there was a lot of conversation around that even. Feeding is complex, and some of it's, not all of it's objective. It's
right.
you got to have some subjective thoughts around it.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing that this past year, that June 21 day where we had the big heat, and I think that's what you're talking about. Everybody did a pretty good job of going back. Hey, if the pen was at 67 pounds of intake and they dropped to 61, they did a good job getting back to 63 or 64.
Right.
But on day 7 and day 10, we didn't get back to the 66. We might not get all the way there, but you're exactly right. We missed out somehow on that days 6 through 10 adjustment. We just were too slow in adjusting.
Right.
And by that time, milk production's affected, and it might be permanent.
Right. If you're going to go and advise a customer, and Paul kind of touched on this earlier, just three hit lists. So you're going to walk on the dairy, any of your clients. What are the first 3 things you look at as far as feed efficiency? I know you look at dairy comp records, you look at things like that, but what are the big hits? Do you have like the 3 things that you're going to measure or that you're going to look at, or 2 things, 1 thing, whatever? 12?
Yeah, 10,000.
I know how thorough you are, Marty. There's probably 12.
Yeah, my eyes are like twitching, when I walk through the dairy. My brain's just cranking away, and I'm like taking it all in, trying to figure out where's this, where's the spot that needs attention today. It doesn't always need attention, but is this abnormal for what I typically would see? And it could be as simple as feed isn't smelling right or looking right, or something's not going on there. It could be as simple as feed's not pushed up, and this is not typical. And so it's that conversation around something simple as that. In terms of mixing or something, I do definitely like to get up into mixers, or get up on the ladders, I guess, of mixer platforms and try to get some eye on it. Just to make sure it is mixing correctly and that type of thing. But definitely data around their feeding software and milk management software is key to kind of review. And it's been so nice, with the capabilities of being able to jump on farms and looking, cloud-based platform software and all that stuff.
Yep.
So you can do all this work prior to hitting the farm, and you already know kind of where you got to focus. So.
FeedFIT tracker. It's been a handy one.
Yep,
sometimes.
absolutely.
Yep.
Where it compiles all the
Yep.
all the milk and components and intake and
Yep.
management.
Puts
Yeah,
it all in one spot.
absolutely.
How has things changed in terms of refusals? Like back in the day, a long time ago, we were okay with more refusals, and how do you balance that today? I mean, what's your approach today versus 10 years ago in terms of how you approach refusals on dairies?
Yeah.
Has that changed at all?
No, I'd like to ask you, Paul, because refusals to me it's a black box. It's truly a challenging area of managing because you're trying to manage that cost,
Yep.
and you're trying to manage the time it takes to take way back out of the barns.
Right.
That takes time,
Yep.
to push it out, pick it up, and then, who's weighing it, who's not weighing it, that takes time. And so it's all about that labor efficiency and where skid steers or payloaders are at and who can pick it up. And so there's a lot of work around that. And I like a little more way back and try to find room for that way back. But I truly understand that management of way back closer to 2-3% is important, and we talk a lot about that. And
Right.
so then it's like, well, if it's that important, then how do we manage so they don't run out of feed? And so now it comes a different skill set on the farm to
Right.
help implement that zero way back day because it's very complex. So I prefer kind of higher waybacks and let's feed it back into some cow pens that we would
Yeah.
do it. But it takes, I'm not saying it's successful. I'm not saying all the farms do it. That is not the point. That's me personally.
One of the things I've been thinking about, the procedural drift that we have on feeders and refusals. We get this feeder trained that, hey, we need to have 600 pounds of feed left at the end of the day. And somewhere along the way, we forgot to tell them we put 20% more cows in there than we did 5 years ago. Yeah. And these cows are eating 67 pounds of intake, not 63. And all of a sudden, our waybacks are at 1 or 2 and not 3 or 4. I mean, I've had a couple different dairies where we just basically moved that number all the way up because nobody had touched it for a while. We just all assumed that refusal number was the right one.
Target, yeah.
And sometimes I think dairies need to go back and go, if we're going to do pounds of refusal as our target, we sure better make sure that matches what we want it to be.
Yeah.
I think we're also put in a dilemma sometimes between cost control and cow health. We want to control costs on the dairy, but we don't want to sacrifice cow health. Refusals kind of falls into that because sometimes I always say there's way back and there's refusal, right? Way back will feed back to the refusal's refusal. It's hot, it's smelly, it's whatever, but sometimes you jeopardizing cow health by balancing that? And there's all kinds of examples, but I think we get stuck in that sometimes, like what's the best thing to do?
Right.
So
yeah, I think when you talk about the cost and managing health and stuff like that, you don't want to buy it, right?
Right.
You truly want to. I mean, that's why we talk about management more. It's like, well, if you want me to keep putting in a lot of different additives, they may or may not help us, but there are different additives that truly can help us. We just may not get all the performance to offset it all the time in terms of the cost. So that's where that focus is on, the drops and the mixing and the forage quality and stuff like that. But, if you got good fresh cows and you can make that transition right, I mean, you can become bulletproof too.
I haven't got there yet.
That's dotting the I.
I'm still taking a shot once in a while.
So that brings up dotting the I and crossing the T. That means like a lot of the top performing dairies do that. Like it is like they won't. They're all for making change, and if you make a change, let's do it right, and let's dot that I and cross the T, and let's not be afraid to address it. With our employees or with the people that supervise that area.
Marty, if you've got some, you go to dairies, what are some low-cost improvements you think guys are missing out on? Like, if you don't have to spend that much money, but here's a pretty good ROI on technology or changes that people can do.
Well, if they're not on feeding software, absolutely, start using feeding software. That will help manage a lot of things, Paul, if that's part of some of your thoughts there. But it could be as simple as managing forage quality better, picking the right seed,
Right.
for your corn silage, or doing the right agronomic practices to have the best forage that is managed by, there's no mycotoxins for the corn silage, high fiber digestibility. So now we can get better performance. And in the alfalfa, it's what RFQ is it? What relative feed quality are we putting up, and what is our intent to put up? It doesn't mean it all has to be over 200, but we definitely don't want under 150. And so it's like, how do you hit that sweet spot and do it right with the weather coming at us as well?
I remember talking to you a couple of months ago, and we were talking about mycotoxins, and rather than talking about binders, you said, well, you're missing the whole point, right? If we had just done a fungal application, in the middle of the season, it could help. And that's the approach is proactive, right? Not reactive.
Right. Yeah, and that fungicide, I'm a stickler on it. It's like I'm calling right away. For me, all the research supports mycotoxin, do it at tassel. I realize agronomically, it's V6 stage or different stages you could spray, and it's supposed to develop a better plant and health and all that. But for toxins, it's like I can't afford addressing it, once it's in the bunker. So let's not get it there, So it's like, no, let's spray it, So right at white silk or tassel. I mean, I'm like, you got 14 days or less. Let's get it done.
And balance the cost between the fungicide or the toxin
binder.
It's
so easy.
It's
you
easy,
can cost justify that all day long.
Every day.
It's real easy. And for farms that maybe can't, it's probably because they haven't had as severe of a problem. But you get a severe problem, and you can justify it for years.
I think we're time to wrap up with Marty for the expert portion of
Well,
the
I
interview.
appreciate wearing you guys down. This is good.
Yeah, but first, before we jump to the next segment, we need you to help us sell a little bling.
There we go. See, there we go.
Did you know that we have available to whoever wants one for $25 a GPS DairyCAST t-shirt?
I did not.
Or for $18 a GPS DairyCAST hat?
Do you know who to contact,
And
Marty?
all they need to do to get one, Marty, you included.
Oh, awesome.
It's Angel. Angel is the solution. Angel Horn at
She is awesome.
GPSDairy.com. She will take care of you. She can get you a hat. She can get you a shirt. And it's going to cost you money too. No freebies for you, Marty.
Oh, I'm getting one on the way out.
Just don't call her Angel.
Oh, wait. Well, I guess I'm wrong.
Look at
You
that.
do get a
You
freebie.
get one right here.
All right, now we're talking.
Hold it up so
Yeah,
we
now
can.
we're
We're gonna
talking.
sell some of those. There you go.
You too can order one of these.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
autograph is extra.
Autograph, $5.
Absolutely.
All right.
I'll autograph it. Let's do
Oh,
it.
you'll autograph.
We thought you wanted ours.
Yeah. No, you guys do mine. I'll do. Okay, I stepped on some toes.
No.
Sorry about that.
Sorry. You noticed the star on the motorhome outside.
I
It was
did.
not Marty. It was.
That's true. It said King's Castle.
At Alltech, we believe the people who work on your dairy aren't just employees. They're part of your culture, your team, and your success. Through People Plus, we work alongside you to ensure your team members are all on the same page, moving in the same direction, and fully aware of just how vital they are to the success of your business. These trainings are practical, farm-specific, and even fun, helping to build a stronger, more connected workforce. Because when your people are aligned, your dairy thrives. Alltech, working together for a planet of plenty.
Before we jump into the next segment, we got a quick update. We're skipping the usual moves dairy guest. Fun for this episode, but it's for a good reason.
That's right. We wanted to talk with you, Marty, with a little extra time on someone who has a huge impact on the dairy, you, of course, and our FeedFIT program.
No mystery. You've been around for a little while, Marty. And we want to have a conversation with a guy who's helped feed teams become more confident and consistent.
What can you tell people about FeedFIT?
Well, I kind of mentioned it a little bit, last
You did.
time with Paul, because Paul was very helpful in pulling it together along with others on the team, and it wouldn't have come together without that development.
Right.
Jim Barmore, a partner of ours from the beginning, was very innovative in that idea as well, and realizing there's a lot of pieces to this puzzle. We kind of do a couple of them, and so let's put it together in a form that we can manage better in terms of being able to pick a piece of this
Right.
large puzzle and be able to implement it on a farm and assess a dairy to better understand, like, well, do we need to work on forage quality? Do we need to work on mixer performance? Do we need to work on feed management? Do we,
Right.
there's different areas. Do we need to help them get software implemented or data from their milking information, et cetera, implemented? So there's a lot of pieces
It's
to
a modular-based program, right? That we have several different training modules or learning modules that we can bring clients depending on what the need is. If they need feeder training, that's one of the modules we
Right,
can
yep.
provide for them. If they need feeding software, that's another module we can
FeedFIT's really about it is about the technical side, but it's also about developing the people. Like for people to understand those different modules, whether it's forage quality or it's developing feeders. It's trying to take that big topic. Like we struggled here just talking about feed efficiency, but talking about the whole forage program, it's about piecing it out and tackling one at a time.
Absolutely, and the latest was really implementing the feed center,
Yep.
module, or that piece, and really creating some information around that to better people within our team as well as with our clients or somebody that's
Right.
looking to build a feed center. Part of the feed center could be corn grinding or something too. It's not just bays or a covered place or something.
Right,
like that.
right. We're kind of excited. We're actually kind of in a relaunch phase of FeedFIT. It's been around. We've talked about it, but I think we've got the pieces put together now to relaunch and really make it. I always say make it hunt. Right, we got to make it hunt. I think we're there now with these modules, and particularly with the FeedFIT discovery process that we can go out and just start very basic with either a prospect dairy or a client, and just start basically with what's going on the feed mixer and what's going on in the bunk, and just start there and try to identify where's the next area they need to work on.
Yeah, in order to do that, we created a video, a brand new FeedFIT promotional video. Here's a quick look at what it is. We understand it's kind of a big concept, so we want to put it in a video form so it's easier to understand.
Ah, nice.
So what we'd like to do now is play that video for the audience, and then we'll come back and wrap up.
What if your dairy's feed center could be more efficient, more profitable, and more sustainable starting today? If feed costs are one of your biggest expenses, shouldn't you have complete control over them? Introducing FeedFIT, the revolutionary program from GPS Dairy Consulting that puts your feed center on the path to peak performance. Feed is your largest expense, but do you really know where it's going? Shrink, inefficiencies, and mismanagement can be costing you thousands without you even realizing it. Lost inventory, poor mixing accuracy, rising costs. Without clear tracking, you could be losing money every single day. And when feed isn't managed properly, cow performance suffers. Lower production, wasted nutrients, and inefficiencies that hurt your bottom line. What if you had a system to take control? A proven framework that helps you understand the numbers, trace every pound of inventory, and optimize your entire feed center. FeedFIT, the expert-driven program from GPS Dairy Consulting that transforms your feed center into a high-performance profit center. With FeedFIT, we conduct a deep-dive FeedFIT investigation to pinpoint the biggest opportunities for improvement. Then, we build a custom action plan to maximize efficiency and cut unnecessary costs step by step. The results? Less waste, lower feed costs, improved milk production. A feed center that runs like a well-oiled machine. And best of all, more profit for your dairy. It's time to take control of your feed center. Don't leave money on the table. Let FeedFIT help you drive real, measurable results. Don't just take our word for it. Here's what dairy producers like you are saying about FeedFIT.
Since we started with the FeedFIT program, it's actually helped our farm tremendously. With the inventory of our ingredients, we can actually know our shrink of our haylage or corn silage, and we can also know when we're going to run out so we can switch feeds and keep our milk production as high as we can without losing any milk.
FeedFIT isn't just a program, it's a game changer for your dairy's profitability. Ready to see the difference? Contact GPS Dairy Consulting today and start your FeedFIT journey.
Wow, I really like that video. That's a wrap on the new FeedFIT video. Marty, can't thank you enough for coming in all the way to Sheldon and giving us all your knowledge that you have, or at least some of it.
Yeah. Right. No, I appreciate that.
Yeah, the impact and feed teams really, the dairy culture as a whole, Marty, runs deep. Thanks for continuing to help people grow into their potential and feed at a great time.
Yeah. No, thanks for asking me. I appreciate you guys reaching out to me and thinking of me of being part of this.
As
this
an
is awesome.
expert, yeah.
It fits well with today's theme, building resiliency and agility. FeedFIT does that, not just in systems, but people too.
Right.
So thank you.
And if you're watching and you're thinking we need that on our dairy, reach out. Let's talk about FeedFIT for your team. Talk to any GPS consultant or hit the contact on the website, however you can get a hold of us. And we'll be right back with more on this episode of
Ahead of the Herd.
Oh, listen to that.
Love it.
Well, Marty, before we let you out of the hot seat, I have a dairy consultant joke for you. Are you ready?
I am.
Why did the dairy consultant get banned from the milking barn?
No idea.
Because every time he showed up, the cows stopped producing and started unionizing.
Wow.
It's like a dad joke or something.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, in our listener mailbag today, we have two questions for you. And our first one comes from Jennifer from Minnesota. And this is more of a personal question, personal preference.
Oh, I like Jennifer from Minnesota.
Jennifer from Minnesota.
I know a Jennifer from Minnesota.
Well, her question for you is, if you could only eat one certain food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Ooh.
And it wouldn't affect us too much.
I think you're overthinking this, Marty.
Yeah. Hey, for me, it's Greek yogurt. I love high protein Greek yogurt. It's great. I love it. Yeah.
Cheese. No, you know what? Milk. Just regular cold glass of milk.
Ice cream.
You would go there.
Ice
You
cream.
would go there. You know, why not
I
like
know.
pizza with a lot of cheese or something like that, or cheese, or
Cheese, glorious cheese.
preferably sharp sugar.
So rich and delicious.
Well played, boys. It sounds
All
like
right.
you'll be keeping your customers in business with your eating habits.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yes.
Oh, it's supposed to be funny. And one more question.
All right,
from-
we have a serious one.
One more question from the mailbag today. Oh, we went from funny and personal to serious, big picture dairy industry question for you guys. And this comes from Dan in Indiana. And he is wondering, in what ways do you see the dairy industry vertically integrating to maximize efficiency and hopefully capture more profit? Feel free to tackle that one, guys.
Who wants to go? I like the crickets. Stepping outside of our comfort zone right
Yeah.
here. I mean, in terms of vertical integration, it's, some have vertically integrated. You could call it like starting to buy more land or, to get the crop side of it, or manage the fertilizer side of it by doing the different things in, in biogas and what those solids do, in terms of separating them out and getting the phosphorus and stuff like that. I mean, there's all kinds of vertical integration that you wouldn't normally think of. Usually you think of, we're going to start manufacturing milk products, cheese or something like that, and then go direct to the store. So I think there's other vertical integrations that really is coming on.
By the same token, we've got, bigger dairies that might be investing in cheese plants.
Yeah.
Or they're putting in reverse osmosis so that they can dehydrate the milk and they can haul it further,
I think
So
some
I think
of that,
there's going to be partial integration, probably a
some of
lot
that-
sooner than we think.
I think some of that integration has already happened in terms
Absolutely.
of the processors. Like a new plant opens and it's already full with these three
Right.
dairies, right? Or we have another dairy, and I'm thinking one that's going to open. Already, all the milk processing power in that plant has been spoken for by 5 people, and the processor comes with expectations. Here's your sustainability requirements. You need to have your dairy looking like this. Milk cows need to be handled this way.
Yep.
There's this expectation from the processor, and then the producer gets access to the market. It's not fully integrated, maybe like our poultry friends or our pork friends, but it's not far from that.
Right.
It's really getting there already, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Excellent.
All right.
All right.
And remember, if we read your question on air, you get an entry into a drawing for a autographed T-shirt or hat
With bling maybe.
with bling.
Does Jenny have another question?
Jenny's just in it for the bling.
Yeah. That's a wrap on episode. Thanks for being here with us, sharing this episode with us, Marty. It was an honor to have you here.
You're going to be at Leaders Forum, Marty, so you can see the live show. It's December.
forward
What's
to
the
it.
dates again, King? Remind me.
December 2nd through the 4th.
2nd through the 4th. Okay.
Yes.
And we'll do a live show at that time, so you can be
Nice.
part of the audience. Maybe we'll
You
drag
can
you up
heckle us
front.
from the
Yeah.
audience.
Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends, for the folks out there that might be on Twitter, LinkedIn, or Facebook. All right, until then, keep it consistent, keep it efficient, and stay
Ahead of the herd.
Well, thanks for joining us for this episode of the GPS DairyCast Ahead of the Herd. We hope you picked up some tips for improving your dairy cattle nutrition program and bolstering your bottom line on your dairy. Don't miss our next episode on leadership, building strong teams and improving operations. And hey, if you want some of that snazzy GPS DairyCast swag, make sure you reach out to Angel Horn. That's Angel Horn at gpsdairy.com to get your very own t-shirt or hat, and let her know what you'd like to be wearing proudly to support your GPS Dairy Consulting team and for you to stay ahead of the herd. Until next time, I'm Peggy Coffeen. Stay curious, stay connected, and keep ahead of the herd.
At Alltech, partnership is at the heart of everything we do. Because we know the best solutions come when we work side by side with dairy producers like you. That's the foundation of our Forage Plus program. Together, we evaluate forage quality from field to the feed bunk, using our on-farm analytical tools like advanced aerial inventory measurements and detailed mycotoxin testing. By combining the knowledge of your herd with our team's expertise, we can uncover key opportunities to optimize your forage and feed programs. Our goal is simple: to make every acre, every bunk, and every bite work harder for your cows and for your business. Because when your forage is maximized, your dairy is too. Alltech, working together for a planet of plenty.